Welcome to this podcast called Unveiling Her Story, Conversations with a Goddess. I am your host, Julia, and I'm a visionary, mom, wife, mentor, tantrika, truth seeker, creator of more than 5 million euros in sales, and owner of this amazing coaching business since 2017. With my brand, Julia Spiritual Living and Luxury Goddess, and this podcast, I support you in exploring your womanhood, your femininity, your real feminine force, in a way that leads you to becoming who you came here to be, to fulfill your soul's purpose, be a sovereign human being, and become free, alive, and blissed out. In this podcast, we're going to poke this matrix and dismantle history, to shine light on her story, our story, to explore union and peace inside and out. How else will we operate beyond what we are told and build our reality anew, the feminine way? Let's peek behind the curtain and play beyond this matrix to find out how freaking exciting it is to co-create your reality as the powerful woman you came here to be. Welcome to a new episode, and as promised, as I already said in the last one, I do want to cover more of the basis of the basics and that which fundamentally are the most important points, and just the knowledge and the understanding of the whole work. So we're diving deep into a feminine force today. And as I already covered in the last episode, real femininity, real feminine force is life force energy, sexual energy, raw energy, which is all there is, all ways of expression, all of the energy that moves, all of the ways it can express. So if we look at the weather, it would be all forms of the weather expressing. It would be the sunshine, it would be the storm, it would be the rain, it would be any kind of weather, if we like it or not. It would be all there is in the example of weather. And the same with the feelings, right? All feelings would be life force energy, sexual energy, feminine force, because it's true. It's what's there in the moment. And that is already what the important part of that is, or the thing to look out for is it suppressed? Is it oppressed? Is it directed in a way where it's manipulated or used so that you get a certain goal from it or a certain outcome from it? Or is it what is really there, what is truly there and alive inside of you? So if we look at feelings, that is even sometimes not the thing that we could ask for, because then we would get the interpretation or even already the narrative. So what I mean by that is, if I ask you, how do you feel right now? And you would say, I feel sad, or I feel angry, then that could already be your go-to emotion, your go-to narrative of how you know yourself to be. And it could already be something a little manipulated or controlled. Whereas if I asked, what is truly alive inside of you? And you were not to go to the feelings, but rather to the sensations, you would say, for example, well, I'm feeling stuck. I feel like at my heart, I feel a little like something is suppressed or something is snatched, and it's kind of there like a stone, and it's like heavy, and that is what is there. Then we are at the most honest point of expression of the truth of what is there. Because sometimes when we name the feeling, even though we could boil it down and go even deeper to the sensation, we're already making it mean something. We're already going into the story of how we know the sensation to be, or what we make it mean, or how we judge it. Whereas when we go to the sensation, that is what's really there. So what we're learning, and what to me personally, the deepest expression and the most honest and rawest expression of femininity is the truth of what is alive in the moment. And learning to use our vessels, our bodies, to surrender to the truth of the sensations in the moment. Because the more we lean into what's true and what's there, we do not try to control. We do not have resistance. We do not fight. And therefore, we do not get tired from the resistance or the controlling. We do not get sick or feel suppressed or numb because we try to direct it in a way it's just not wanting to go, and it's just this fight. But rather we feel energy being free. We feel the freedom of the energy. We feel the release or the expression of the energy, whereas the energy gets to move. And that way we feel fully expressed. And therefore we feel creative. We feel in flow. We might even feel, content or happy about that. Even though we might feel like quote unquote bad, right? Or angry or sad. But because we're not making this mean anything about us, we're not trying to push it away, but we're also not trying to, say like, just feel better. Let's just feel better. Like this positive, like the toxic positivity or something like that. We're just leaning towards the truth, which is, this is what I'm feeling. We're not saying, oh my gosh, that's horrible, my day is done. And we're also not saying, oh, no problem. Like, I'm going to feel better in a moment. Wait, let me just change my feeling. We're just saying, this is how I feel. Interesting. And the perspective of the childlike curiosity is what is the most healing. And also, again, well, let me just say best perspective we could have. Because the perspective where we say, interesting, I'm feeling that right now. Like, I'm curious, like, how this wants to move. And interesting, like, that's interesting to look at. Then we are in the childlike, explorative, maiden energy, where we're not judging ourselves. We're not trying to control it. We're not trying to change it. We're really accepting what's there because we're being curious. And we're not putting the feelings or the sensations on a pedestal, but we're also not trying to be on a pedestal ourselves above those feelings, saying, so we should change them. I know how to change them. I'm just going to quickly override them, or, I'm just going to bypass them, or I'm just going to go into the victim mode quickly and just make it mean something bad about me because that's what I'm used to. We're not going into the drama or the victimhood or the savior. We're going into, I'm meeting my sensations eye to eye. So I'm being there for myself. I'm accepting of what is, yet co-creating, playing, meeting it. And then together, eye to eye, we move from that place. So we're in our sovereign feminine being, right? We're in our feminine saying, this is what's happening. Like, this is a point of attraction I'm in. Like, let's go from there. Let me surrender. Let me move with it. I'm definitely going to do an episode about surrender, because surrender to me does not mean I'm just going to, give up, or I should always lean into whatever's happening. I'm just going to have to surrender for anything that happens. No, that is not what surrender means to me. But in this particular topic, I definitely feel surrender is the way. Because what's there, what I feel in the moment, especially the sensation, definitely is an invitation for us to surrender into. Not meaning the way we then respond to it or deal with something definitely should be surrendering. I'm not saying that at all. But just the feeling in the body, the sensation in the moment is something we can surrender to by accepting it, by lovingly looking at it, by being curious, by being interested in how it wants to move inside of us. And so the way I also see it and what real femininity is to me, like in the most important way of understanding and using it and co-creating with it, is the great mother, the great goddess always wants to move through me. The expression of life force energy wants to move through me. So she visits me every day in form of the sensation I have. And the stronger the sensation is, the more I feel like the great goddess moves through me and trusts me with that huge amount of energy and feels like I'm a match for a lot of energy, like anger, or like a huge wave of sadness, or there's a huge wave of pleasure. And what many of us do say, oh my gosh, that's intense. Like, it just, press it down. Oh no, I do not want to feel that kind of anger. Like, let me walk away from that. Or sadness, no, let me go into the narrative, I'm the victim. But grieving, we don't know that. We haven't gotten to known it yet till we learn again. Like, grieving is such a feminine process and so healthy and feminine. But the more we get to know any kind of expression of the great mother that's moving through us that we call emotions, feelings, sensations, the more we actually allow the feminine energy and get comfortable and really in a loving relationship with femininity herself. So the more I have the perspective and the way of being with femininity where I say, oof, thank you, great mother, for visiting me today. Like, thank you for choosing me and trusting me with so much energy and that great power. Thank you for visiting me with that amount of anger, right? Or the kind of sensation that I have that feels like anger, or like grief because, whoa, like, thank you. Like, I understand that you're respecting me and that you feel like I'm a match for that much energy. So thank you. Right? Because we're testing the waters together, how much energy I can move and be a vessel for. So thank you. Right? Thank you. I'm meeting you here. Instead of, as we often do, the masculine way of like, this I don't want, this I'm not, this I can't meet right now because I have to do this and that, where we're being linear and saying, like, excluding things and saying, that's like, I cannot meet that right now. This doesn't work for me right now. This I'm overriding. This I'm bypassing. This I'm suppressing because no. But the femininity, the perspective of femininity is, welcome, child. Welcome, anger. Welcome, whatever I feel. Welcome, whatever wants to express through me, because I include it all. It's in the circle of all the possibilities of who I am and can be. We can see this in many other things as well. We as women have the moon cycle, and we are all our facets in those 4 weeks, or can be. And man, of course, can be all there is as well, right? I mean, feminine energy moves through them as well, but they have the sun cycle each day. They have the same kind of cycle each day, which we call the sun cycle, because they go with the sun 24 hours, one cycle, and then they go again. So they're meeting themselves linearly, kind of. I mean, not going into masculinity. I'm not trying to explain that to you right now, but just giving an example and kind of like a picture for us to grasp it better. So moon cycle, sun cycle. We also see that in our fluidity, in our emotion, like in our emotional being, which as women we're emotional, we're intuitive, we're magnetic, we're receiving beings, like we're receiving the semen of the man. So we see that in all different things. May it be the cycle, the menstrual cycle, the moon cycle, may it be the way we receive the semen, right? And we give birth. So it's all the different parts that we can look at that are yin attributes, feminine attributes, where it comes back to us being circular and cyclical and moving with all there is, whereas masculine traits are like the linear and the focused and the like excluding things to be set on that goal, and everything that's in the way, like moving it out of the way, which is very important. Not saying that that is bad, just that is very masculine, and men are innately masculine, whereas we women are innately feminine. And again, that's what I believe, right? That's my truth. And because we're meeting here in this podcast where I speak all of me and all of my truth, and I believe that that is best for the world, I do that. And if I believe something completely different than you, I do not ever say that that is wrong. I respect your truth 100%. And I believe if we want to move forward and build and co-create a new paradigm, this is the perspective to have. This is the perspective to practice, right? Where again, I'm saying, I personally believe in women being women and men being men. And you can believe differently. But as soon as you say you should believe differently, Julia, it is wrong the way you believe, we cannot meet eye to eye, in my opinion, because you're trying to have me have another truth, which I can't. I have the truth I have because it's true to me. So that doesn't make sense to talk about that, right? So that's kind of like the rules and the boundaries that I have in my world, because this is where we can meet. And if not, no problem. But then we can't meet. We can't be in interaction, which is fine. To me, that's peaceful. Boundaries lead to peace instead of trying to make the other differently where we have war. So coming back to femininity, that is what femininity truly is to me. So the more honest we can be to what we really want right now, what we really believe, what we truly dream of, what we're truly drawn to, what we desire, what truly wants to express in the moment, that, all of that to me means, or is like the focal point and the point where femininity is born, where it stems from, where it derives from. That to me is real feminine force, femininity. That is what it's all about. Now we can then explore the different parts, how feminine energy expresses, which would be, well, feminine energy surrenders. Yes, it does, but not to anything. Whereas a person that spiritually bypasses would say, well, you should just surrender more. Whereas you, as a woman, can say, yes, but not to anything. So whatever you're inviting me to right now, I do not want to surrender to. I do not give consent. I'm a sovereign being. I have discernment. And so I surrender into my truth, into my inner voice, which tells me no in this moment. So surrendering, not to any kind of invitation, but surrender to the truth of your heart. And that's what we're practicing, which also can be tricky because sometimes we want to surrender to the truth of our heart, but our nervous system still holds codes of unsafety around something that we want to surrender to because of something that we experienced. So it is a training to then learn to surrender again, right? For example, in sexuality, we can now feel safe in a relationship. We want to surrender sexually, but then the more we practice this, it can still feel like it's a challenge or there's resistance because our nervous system still needs to retrain that it is truly safe where it wasn't in the past. And so it is a layered topic, and it's that with anything feminine or any attribute we would explore. It's not black and white. It's not this process kind of thing of like, just surrender or just let go, because it depends on your intention and how honest you're being to yourself and how well you are in touch with your nervous system, really understanding where it is reacting the way it is because of the experiences you made or because of the intuition in the moment, right? Because from the outside, we can say both are true. Like, oh, your nervous system says it's not good to surrender, then don't surrender. But then I wouldn't be able to practice surrendering with my partner, so that can't be the way either. So I must understand it. This is differentiated and layered into my beingness, my experiences, and understanding how I intuitively know things and know what's true for me. So again, just to wrap this up, real feminine force, femininity, is really the inclusivity of the truth of the moment and knowing what's true for you in a moment and being so honest about that, being able to feel that, being able to articulate it if necessary or helpful, and being able to, tend to the needs or the truth of the moment. So how you can practice this is really the basis of knowing your needs, feeling into your needs, getting to know you more and understanding when you get angry or when you get sad or whatever it may be, and where there is a boundary needed, where it's just needed that you have a break, or really feel into what you want and what you need. Where you still tend to people please or think inside of a box where you don't even allow yourself to think outside the box, which is a big one. And practice really that. Like, if there is no truth to who you are and how you interact and what you want, and you would just get to know yourself today or tomorrow and these days, what do you find out about yourself? What do you really like? What do you really want? What do you really need? What have you maybe not dared to say yet to your partner, to your friend, to your mom, to whoever is close to you? That is going deeper into feminine force. It would be the inclusive parts of you that get to know the shadow parts of you. So oftentimes those are the maiden. Oftentimes we have neglected the maiden. The more we became adults or maybe even a mom, we neglected that part. I can't be that flirty, fun, easygoing part anymore because life has become so serious. How do you get into play again? Playing, having fun here on earth. One of the biggest two archetypes and therefore parts of ourselves that we have neglected as well is the holy whore, the sacred slut. The part of us that is super sensual and maybe even sexual, which is, again, nothing that is inside a bedroom, but rather, right, as I said, sexual energy, life force energy, feminine energy. So we have learned as women, you'll be abused if you're that way, or they call you a prostitute if you are that way, or even you started calling women that way. And so you put that part into the dark and like, okay, let me not be that way because that's not safe, or then I'll be called names, or then I'll be excluded from society. We don't want that. So that part often is in the shadow. And then also the wise woman inside of us, because we do not want to age. We don't want to be the woman that is neglected for a younger woman. We don't want to look ugly or be called ugly. So we neglect her. But with that, we neglect the wise part of us that knows that we cannot make a mistake in this world that will ruin our lives, that it's all experiences, that we're here to play. And you can access her by, imagining you're 80, 90, 150, however old you plan to be or can imagine to be, and feel into what she would say to you right now, where it often is something like, do not stress out. It's all there already. Enjoy it more. Have fun more. It's all cool. Don't worry. Like if you were laying on a deathbed and looking back to your life, you wouldn't want to stress out that much, right? You wouldn't want to worry. You wouldn't want to be wrapped up in some sort of Matrix film that you feel stuck in. You would rather see like, oh, I can like co-create this movie. Like I direct my own movie. Like, let's go. Let's have fun. Let me chill out. Let me relax. Let me trust. Let me go for it. Let me dare. Right? And so this is why I love working with archetypes, because we can meet those parts, and also with like very creatively and artistically, where we're being already in a very feminine mode of, creative, expressing, right? Which is these are feminine traits. And so we can get to know those parts again and do the shadow work, do the work to become all we are and meet all facets and have fun with all of who we are, stopping the suppression, stopping the box that we have built as a strategy to feel safe and loved in this world, where that was very necessary, right? As a child, as an adolescent, as a young adult, we didn't have other strategies, but now we do. Now we understand and dive into this world of personal development, and we see, oh my gosh, there are all these strategies. I can actually meet these parts. I can actually have fun with them. I can actually learn the tools and the knowledge to choose a different strategy than just suppressing or putting that in the shadow and not meeting it, or whatever it may be. So that to me is real femininity. Yes, it is the different traits, the yin traits, the traits of like yin and yang, the yin traits, right? Like surrendering and intuition, creative, birthing, all like moon, all of those. Yes. But that is just the different concepts we can explore and use to live our femininity more. But that can be a very linear and even masculine path if we do not understand what it's all about, which is like the biggest part that I spoke about, especially in the beginning until the middle of this episode, which is all of it, all the facets, all of expression, the truth of what's there, instead of the controlling OCD behaviors that we have, that we learn from society and the strategies, right? So that to me is real femininity. And to wrap this up too, I can just talk just a little bit about Shiva and Shakti, because I love the Tantric path, and I do follow the Tantric path just because it's really, it just resonates so much with who I am and who I feel I truly am and who I came here to be. So to me, the Tantric way of understanding femininity and masculinity is just, to me, it just resonates so much. So we have femininity, masculinity, which is the energies that I explained. And it's especially to me as a woman. So that's what I spoke about today, right? I didn't just speak about feminine and masculine energy. I can do that in another episode as well, where we look at, okay, these are the energies, and men and women both have them. Which parts of what I said today we could apply, but it'd be better to have a different episode for that. But what I spoke about today is the feminine force, real femininity, that we as women get to remember, and I'm here to remember, to bring femininity back to earth, to fully restore femininity, to liberate femininity. That's what I spoke about today. And we can look at Eros and Logos, yin and yang, which would divide them more into the two energies, where we could say, as men and women, we both have them. But what I love working with is Shakti and Shiva. Shiva is the space itself. All there is. The empty space, consciousness. And then Shakti is all that fills us up. All the energy. All that's moving. That makes it alive. Makes the space that is empty, full and alive. And that is what we bring as women. We bring our feelings, we bring our emotions, we bring our intuition, we bring our ideas that we creatively kind of like channel or receive from the divine. And that, yes, we can also see as, yes, women have that and men have that. And each of us has that inner marriage of them both. And it's so important. And the men, especially in the relationships, we have the romantic relationships, the men are here to embody the polarity of the masculine, the presence, that I am here for you, I provide for you, I hold you. And the woman is here to receive that and express fully and open her heart and her emotions and be so honest about where she is. To not be the moaning mother and the like, you did not do what I want and I want you to be this way. But this, this is where I am, this is how I'm feeling, like this is what I want, like from the depth of her without the neediness. She's the magnetic muse instead of the moaning mother. Just to give you a fun and easy concept to grasp. Same for the men. They're not the mama's boy. When they're really in their polarity, they are in their king and their man and their magician. Like, I am the man. I'm here to provide. I'm enjoying to be there for her. Whereas she enjoys her honest expression of femininity. And so that is what we get to explore. And that is honestly how we restore polarity and unity too. As we remember who we came here to be as women and as men. And then when we come together in that polarity where we feel one and where we can feel unity, where we can feel God in the coming together in our truth, in our vulnerability, but also in our personal power. And so that is what I wanted to share with you today, so that we have a great foundation for this podcast to understand femininity and feminine force. It's the honest expression of the all, which in the end, and I already talked a little bit about, what we can explore, like our needs or our nervous system. But another big thing to really put this into action and to, actually practice this right now. If you've listened now, you feel like, okay, I want this. So what are my steps? So one of the biggest things then is to learn and practice safety. Inner safety, like nervous system regulation. Because the more I feel safe inside my body and the more I'm in touch with my nervous system and I know how to regulate it and I understand myself and I'm in connection with myself, I then feel liberated to express fully. Whereas, when I'm stuck in freeze mode or fawning or people pleasing, this is where I'm at. I can't grasp expressing fully because I'm meeting myself in freeze mode and having to navigate from there. And we will talk about this in this podcast because, of course, this is the liberation. This is where we have the keys and get the keys to be that free and to be that free in our expression and to fully explore who we truly are and want to be, right? Because we cannot until we learn how to even be free in our bodies. Until then, we're kind of trapped in our bodies, reactions of trauma responses and just societal way of being and just more like functioning and being in the moaning mother and the OCD kind of woman, like the control freak, instead of the magnetic muse who really allows herself to stand and, I want that, I own that, I desire this, this is who I am, this is how I want to explore, expressing, and like that isn't how we go about this in our society. We need to create spaces and practice this at home where we feel safe to then, go like express and practice in a retreat. But you wouldn't start practicing this in the supermarket or with someone who you don't feel safe with, right? You want to practice this first step by step so that you don't try to override yourself again. So we're going to stop here. You can let all that sink in and really digest. Of course, you can listen again and again if you just want to make sure it's all like really landing. But yeah, that's an important base for me, because that is how I understand femininity after all those years of exploring and teaching femininity. And as much as I love exploring our cycles and sexual anatomy and all those layers of exploring femininity and sexuality, in the end, it does boil down to our deep, deep, deep understanding of it, and understanding feminine force is life force, is sexual force. Sexual energy, life force energy, feminine energy is the truth of what is there, an expression and sensations and emotions and energy moving through me. And we're here for it. We're learning how to allow it instead of suppress it, control it, bypass it, toxic, positify it, whatever we do with it. And so honoring life force energy, like really, like I said, the Great Mother is visiting, like thank you, like wow, like respect, like whoa, like I'm so grateful that you're realizing I can be the vessel for that much energy. Oof, yes, I want this. Let me be this powerful, or become this powerful being, so liberated to let all that move through me, so that I become the freest expression and can expand into all there is to experience on earth, because that's one of the biggest parts that I believe we're here for. Untamed, liberated, not stuck in any box of, any kind of fear anyone puts out, but rather saying, oh, interesting. It's not really true. It's just the sensation. Interesting. And so I'm so looking forward to explore all of that with you further in this podcast. Thank you so much for listening today. If you loved this episode, you can leave a comment on YouTube or and a review, 5-star review, or just share it with someone where you think, oh, maybe they'd benefit. And maybe that'd be great for them to just extend this free possibility to explore femininity in this way. So thank you for anything that resonates, for sharing if it feels aligned. And I will catch you next time for the next episode, next Tuesday, and or on Instagram. Meanwhile, if you want to interact with me or just see even more of my content. And I appreciate you. I respect you a lot. So thank you for you. And until next time. That was today's episode of Unveiling Her Story, Conversations with the Goddess. I hope this episode and the whole podcast serves you. And if it does, I invite you to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or rank the podcast 5 stars on whatever platform you listen. And or subscribe, comment, or share, whatever feels right to you, so we can let all the women, all the truth seekers, tantrikas, priestesses know that this podcast is here to serve and support them as well. You can find information about current offers in the show notes. And if you have any questions, just shoot us an email to info@juliaspiritualliving.com. Connect with me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can find links and social media handles in the show notes as well. Thank you from one woman to another. I deeply appreciate you seeking pleasure in this life and rising for you, your immediate surrounding, and for this whole world that we are co-creating. I'm so looking forward to our next encounter. Yours, Julia.